Happiness is a Warm Blanket, Charlie Brown is so delightful. This is the Charlie Brown cartoon from 2011. This is directed by Andrew Beall and Frank Molieri. And Linus is concerned that he might have to get rid of his blanket. And as we know, Linus always carries this blanket around, but his grandma's coming to visit, and Lucy keeps telling him that when she arrives, she's going to make him get rid of his blanket. And Lucy keeps trying to do various things to get rid of the blanket, and Linus obviously keeps trying to get it back. And that sounds like it would be quite repetitive, but actually there's a lot of variety in this and a lot of different things to look at. It does get quite emotional when Linus gets really distressed about losing his comfort blanket, and there are definitely some very creative ways that they tried to get rid of this blanket. And it really is an emotional roller coaster, and I found it to be very moving and very sweet, and I loved the ending, but I'll talk about that with a spoiler warning in a moment. It's obviously beautifully animated. One of my favourite scenes is quite early on, I think it's quite early on, where Linus asks Charlie Brown to look after the blanket, and, you know, in no uncertainty, do not give it back to him no matter how much he begs for it, and obviously Linus immediately begs for it. And all the while, Charlie Brown is just sitting eating cereal, completely, you know, expressionless face, and it's really well done, and I rather enjoyed it. And I think a lot of us can relate to that if you've ever been in a situation where you're trying to, you know, quit a habit, whether it's, you know, smoking, junk food, whatever, or even a comfort blanket, and you want somebody to stop you from doing that thing, but that's a really difficult situation to put somebody in. But Charlie Brown doesn't seem that concerned. He's just getting on with it, and I rather enjoyed it. I thought it was a really sweet episode, and a beautiful episode with a really gorgeous message at the end. So I'll discuss that now. I will say, one of my favourite bits is when Schroeder flips the piano and Lucy falls off of it. Absolutely loved it. But there will be spoilers from now. I'll discuss what happens at the end because I think it was really moving and really powerful. And at the end, so spoilers from now, at the end, Linus gives this great speech about how everybody has a comfort blanket. Obviously, Linus's is literally a comfort blanket, but he talks about how his grandmother drinks loads of coffee and that's her comfort blanket, and other people, you know, Schroeder's got his music, and everybody else has something that takes the place of a comfort blanket, something that provides him with security. And he gives this speech and says, is any of us really secure and happy without that thing? And then Pigpen, who some of the characters had made fun of earlier, just wanders into the shot or into the frame, and it was just wonderful because here we have a character who is filthy, who people may look down on, but he is quite literally happy as a pig in muck. And he may be filthy, but he's happy. But at the same time, one could argue that mud is his comfort blanket. But I found it to be really sweet and really enjoyable, and such a great story with such a great message. We all have those kinds of comforts, and yeah, maybe people will think Linus is getting too old for a comfort blanket, but who cares? I found it to be really sweet and one I would happily watch again. And if you haven't seen it, apologies for spoiling the ending, but I do definitely recommend it.